You guys are very curious to know about how it is to be raised in an aristocratic family with my family heritage. So, and I do believe that there's a lot of common misconceptions due to, popular media, movies, books, and so on. So, let me tell you about what it's really like. Every family is very different. I can only speak about my family in this context. For example, I've never had any lessons on etiquette, but just because I was already raised with that, like it just kind of like my mom just like kind of imposed that on me very early onwards, so I never really had to learn anything. I just was born with it, I guess. Not born with it, I was just taught it very, very early on. For example, as a child, my mom used to tie me to the chairs with her MS scarves to make sure that I wouldn't slouch. And other things just came like very naturally. I learned how to ski the second that I could walk. Yes, I can also ride a horse. Not that I'm very good at it, but I can. And also sports such as like tennis and golf, I learned that when I was very young. Another stereotype that's also very true in my case is that I also did go to boarding schools in Switzerland and in Germany. I think the way that I was raised, and I guess something that's also stereotypical for the aristocracy, is the way that we speak to our parents. So my parents have always spoken to us about very openly about politics and history. They've always taught us a lot about classical music and art. For example, my first opera was when I was 8, and at the age of 5, I could very easily differentiate just by hearing, what's Beethoven, what's Bach, what's Mozart. That came very naturally to me, but just because I was raised with that from such an early age. They also always made it very clear to us about how privileged we were. So when I was 12, I started my own charity for the Children's Hospital in Angkor Wat, and also to not differentiate between classes. So I would speak the same way to the Prince of Wales than I speak to someone at the restaurant who's, filling up my water cup. For me, there's no difference in how you treat people. And honestly, I think we were also raised a little bit like vain, because I do care a lot about my appearance. Like, you will never catch me outside with catch me outside. Sorry, you will never see me outside wearing sweatpants ever. Which is kind of funny because I make most of my videos from bed in my PJs. But I think it's just like the certain, like, you just kind of have to look put together. There's also a big emphasis on general knowledge, because we would be invited to gala dinners, balls, with politicians and ambassadors, and it would always be very important that even us as young kids, we could keep up with the topic of conversation.